Hello and welcome to Voices of Parenting podcast. I am so glad you're here. My name is Mussi. I am an advanced nurtured heart approach trainer. I am a parenting coach. I am also an inner wealth coach, which means that I help people rediscover and connect to the people that they truly were all along, but may have gotten forgotten along the way. So to find out more about me and what I offer, you can check out mussidiskin.com. I would love to connect and I would love to hear your feedback. Reach out to energizinghearts@gmail.com. Thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hello, everybody. We're back here with my friend Freddy, with our friend Freddy at this point. I was thinking about the podcast in general and about the guests and the balance of new guests versus returning guests. And I realized that this is what I want. I just want conversation. There's something so great about just getting on with returning guests so that we can just return to conversation, because then we can get to details that maybe wouldn't happen if it was what's your story and how did you get here? So, Freddie, talk to us. What's on your heart? What's on your mind? What are we thinking about today?
Oh, man. Well, it is lovely to be back, and I love our conversations as well. What I've been thinking about, I guess what's on my heart mostly recently is, I know not everybody is in from the nurtured heart lens here, but in parenting and teaching and just relationshiping with ourselves, what I have been thinking about is the real danger and harm is not whatever rule we have, and it's not in whatever consequence we want to give. People can be really, really strict or not, and that's all fine. Where the damage is done is in the narrative we tell around whatever that rule break is. And again, this is with our kids and students, but it's also with ourselves and our spouse. So I just want to, the double or triple lines of that is what is so interesting. So it's the shame and the blame and the guilt and the narrative that's built around it. For example, my son has trouble cleaning his room. That's fine. I can have a rule about a clean room before, whatever screen time. He doesn't clean his room. I enforce consequence. I don't think there's any harm that's been done in that exchange, even though sometimes it feels like it. But I think when I start going to, you didn't clean your room because you're lazy, you're sloppy, you're so messy. We've had this talk before. You never listen. I always have to remind you. That's where all the damage is done. That narrative that builds his identity or tells him who he is the problem. And then I start with myself. And I'm a bad dad because I raised a kid who isn't organized and doesn't want to clean his room and doesn't listen. And so I'm now, and again, that's where the negativity comes from. That's where the damage is done. It's the story. So if that's true, then I just want to stay real in the moment. And that negative narrative, it's all made up. And so if it's all made up anyways, why don't I make up something that makes us feel good, that lights us up, that makes us feel happy, that makes us the hero of the story even instead of the villain? So that leads me to thinking more about discipline, which I know we talked about last time, and that I think the root is more disciple, which is teach. And somehow we've turned it into punish, and punish leads to shame and blame and guilt, which is where I'm starting now. So I'll stop in just a second, but the main thought there is it's not the action, it's not the rule, it's not the rule break, it's not the consequence. The real damage that I find overwhelmingly is in the negative narrative that we allow to have happen. And so that's what I want us to have tools and practice put in the brakes on. When that narrative, last thought, you don't even have to say it out loud, because the beauty of relationshiping and the struggle with relationshiping is our energy speaks beyond the words. So sometimes even if I catch myself in that narrative and I don't say it, my body, my face, my expression, my just energy can sometimes communicate it. So I really have to do some work to catch it and stop that narrative it feels like almost a cellular level. So I'll stop there.
Love this topic. Oh my goodness. I have so much to say on it. I remember Sarah Herbsman said this line, and I quoted it after and made little memes of it and everything. Is it a fact or is it an issue? And I think that's the question of stand one. The fact is my kid can't clean their room. The fact is, or doesn't, or won't, or didn't. The fact is that nothing I'm doing so far has worked. The fact is it just the facts or is it the issue? Because if it's just the facts, then we can problem solve around facts. Okay, so what's our next course of action? If this is a fact, if you're walking through a room and there is a table in your way, That is a fact. Now, what would you like to do? Would you like to walk into the table again and again and again and keep hurting yourself? Would you like to go under? Would you like to go over? Maybe walk around. Like, that's a possibility. We can problem solve. And then all the problem solving is, like you're saying, the energy of it is just the energy of stand 3, of clarity. How do we get through this? Like, there's a fact here. What's the best way forward? That's all. How do we build ourselves for success? It's like if you are building a children's game, you have this wonderful game and you're writing the instructions of it, like, nobody knows how to play because they've never played it. So just tell them how to play. You don't need to like shame them for not knowing how. You don't need to like wonder why they don't know yet. You don't need to like scare them about maybe not playing right. You better not do this and you better not do that. Like, no, this is how you play if you'd like to win.
Yep.
There's no like energy attached to that. If you'd like to play and if you'd like to win, this is how you do it. Set it out clear. And that's where like the consequence thing you said, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm on a soapbox right now. You totally woke me up, Freddie. I with the consequences, it's like I always say, kids are so human. We're so adaptable. We're so resilient, that word. I know there's stuff with that word, but we're so able to live life on life's terms. We've seen that through the years of history, through all types of crazy scenarios and situations that we humans have been in, and we've adapted and we've learned. And kids have grown up in starvation, and they've grown up in war, and they've grown up in all kinds of negative scenarios that what you'd say were traumatic or whatever, but you learn how to, that's their childhood. That's normal. There's normal. I always say, like, if you see someone in a park taking their child and like tying them to the park bench, and the child's screaming and saying, "No, I don't want to sit here. I don't want to sit here." Like, what would you do? Like, you'd have to call someone. You'd have to report this to CPS. Like, this is child abuse. And yet every single day, moms of little and dads of little kids are doing this in the car seat in the car a million times a day. Every time you leave your house, you're strapping your child in with straps that are strong enough. Okay, not tight, but like strong enough that they cannot get out. And they're screaming and they're saying, "I don't want to sit in my car seat. I don't."
No.
And too bad. You're going to sit in your car seat because your life is worth more to me. And I will never allow you to go in the car without a car seat because you are too precious to me. And the
There's
energy
some
is
clarity
so
right there, right?
clear. The energy is so clear. It's not negative. It's not a punishment. It just is. This is what we're going to do. And guess what? Our kids grow up. Are your memories of your childhood like being forced into a car seat? I don't think we even remember that because our parents' energy is clear. So we just take it as fact. We have to do this. So this is what we do. We sit in a car seat. It sucks. It's annoying. It's hot. I can't move around. Well, I got to do it. So I got to do it. Like, the consequences could be so hard. Like, you could have to pay your whole allowance to fix the window that you broke. Like, that could just be what has to happen. And it really sucks to lose all of your money. But if it's just the facts, and it's not about relationship, and there's no energy around it, and it's just the next step that needs to happen, and like, I could even be in the suck with you when it's me and you against the rules.
Yes.
I could be in the suckiness with you and be like, oh my gosh, this is so huge, and you at your age having to deal with this like moral like or ethical like challenge of needing to like pay for something you broke with all your money that you worked so hard on, babysitting or whatever you were doing, and to have to give that is huge. I don't want to minimize that for a second. And I am so in awe of you right now. And I am so like, even just the fact that it's taking you some time to pay, like, makes so much sense to me, because I don't know what I would do if I was in your shoes. And yet that's the rule in our house. Like, the rule in our house is if you break something, you pay for it. So like, I'm not going to let you not pay for it. You are going to pay for it. But like, this is so huge. Take your time. I'm here, whatever. Like, it's not anymore, because there's no narrative around the negativity of having broken a rule and a consequence and having to deal with it. It's just life. It's just the rules. It's just the way the game goes. I'm not sorry for getting your little pawn out in the game of sorry, even though it's called sorry. I'm not sorry. That's how the game goes, and you'll get me out later. It's all good. There's no energy. We can laugh and sing and yell at each other during the game.
No, I love that so much. I'm thinking a couple things. When I'm talking to teachers and parents, I so often want to frame things in get on the same team with your child or your student. They're going to bump against something. If you can be on the team with them bumping against something else that actually is bonding, and that's what you're describing, whether it be the rule or the this or the that, if you're on the same team with them against whatever the outside thing is, and you got to be careful that doesn't slip into dangerous land, but there's a team building, bonding sort of situation that happens then. And then it's like the table in the room that you were describing. Like, you both want to move somewhere and you have to get around the table. You have to get around this rule. You have to get around this consequence, whatever it is. It just is what it is. I love that. The example I think we've talked about before, but whether we have or we haven't talked about it before, it's so good. I want to give the metaphor again, because it reminds me of what you just said. It's the GPS in our car and how brilliantly it understands the energy that we're trying to talk about right now. If you have ever driven with GPS, which I'm guessing most people have at this point, if you mess up, which you will do, you'll miss a turn, sometimes on purpose, sometimes by accident. The GPS will never start cussing you out, swearing you out, nagging at you. Oh my God, you missed the turn again. You're a horrible driver. This is why I can't drive with you. Now we're going to be late. It doesn't do any of that. It simply says recalculating and then tells you how to get there now from where you are. And if you mess up again or miss the turn again or make a wrong turn again, no name calling, no judgment, no frustration, no exasperation. It's just simply recalculating. And then it tells you how to get where you're trying to get from the new point. That's what I think energetically we're trying to do with the child. So or with ourselves or spouse. Again, it's not always with the child. If somebody takes the wrong turn according to our directions, by the way, that may or may not be the wrong turn. It just happens to be a different turn than what we had in mind. We don't have to lecture. We don't have to make up that whole narrative again. We don't have to bring up the past. We don't have to predict the future. All we have to do is very unenergetically recalculating and tell them how to get to where we're trying to get from the new point and the new point and the new point. And if they miss 50 turns in a row, the GPS will not get frustrated, will not raise their voice, will not do anything different. It just simply say, this is where you're trying to get, and this is the way to get there from where we are now, recalculating. And again, GPS you can mess with, like avoid toll roads, take toll roads, avoid freeways, where are the gas stations? Like you can input things, which helps. But the energy of a GPS and the lack of negative narrative and the lack of nagging and name calling and exasperation and just simply factually, I'm on your team. We're trying to get from where we are now to this place. And I'm just going to keep telling us how to get there until we get there. I love that. I love that metaphor.
I'm laughing because I have this vision of imagine the GPS believing in this very understandable belief that so many of us have, that if we don't discuss what went wrong, we won't learn from it and we won't be able to move forward. We can't just move forward unless we've really milked the issue. And so imagine you to make the wrong turn and the GPS is like, okay, pull over.
Pull over.
Let's look at the map. Let's figure out why did you not listen to me? Right. So I was clear, I believe. So what did you misunderstand here? And we do that, and we do it even with, in the more progressive, modern ways. We do it with neutral energy and without the shame. But it's this we have to pull apart. We have to sit in the dirt. We have to sit in the darkness. We have to sit in the negativity to pull it apart so we can really analyze it and evaluate what exactly is wrong with you that you thought it would be a good idea to do something bad. That's the meta message of it. What exactly is wrong with you? And the gift of permission. And I think that for many of us, when we start Nurtured Heart, there is a little bit of a dive we take to not necessarily know yet or trust yet that the messaging and beliefs of everyone around us, that we have to sit with the negativity and we have to unpack it. Not so much do we necessarily have the confidence that they're 100% wrong, but the permission it gives us. Well, we're following an approach. I have a reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Nurtured Heart says you're supposed to, and I'm choosing to follow full faith, blind faith. But the permission to be able to not do that and not have to unpack that and not have to go back there. And it's funny because it sounds like we don't reflect, and it sounds like we just bypass things and pretend they don't exist and not learn from history, when in fact there is so much reflection and learning to be done, and effectively and beautifully and relationally protectively, when we can look at it as just facts and be like, okay, so next time when we're walking through and the table's in our way, maybe if we had a plan in the beginning to go somewhere else, it would help. But it's not a bad thing that we bumped into the table. Nobody's in trouble. Nobody's mad at anyone. We're just really trying to problem solve again and be smarter for next time. So much is built out of that.
I love that. And I'm also feeling really powerfully while you're talking right now. The other thing is where the trust is and who the center is, who the authority is. I know sometimes I put something in my GPS and it's telling me where to go, but I decide I want an ice cream cone, or I decide I need to stop at the hardware store. And so I don't want to reprogram the GPS. I just make my turn and it starts saying recalculating, it's trying to get me back on that course. It's not wrong. I'm not mad at it, but I'm also ignoring it because I've decided I'm adding a stop myself. Once I make my stop, I jump back on and listen to GPS. Now, I suppose some people would want to like stop the GPS, enter their new destination, or turn it off altogether until they do the destination, then reset it. That's way too much effort for me. So I'm just going to block out the recalculating for that while. Like my GPS is a female voice, but she's right. She's telling me how to get where I asked her to have me get, but I've decided something else and I'm trusting myself. Sometimes I might be driving and there's an accident that GPS doesn't know about yet. So I'm going to navigate around it myself. I listen to her. I'm not mad at her telling me recalculate. And she's not mad at me. I'm telling you, recalculate. What are you doing? You're ignoring me. All that drama. It's just simply trusting that the directions are what I asked for and they will lead me to this destination. I am still in charge of deciding. So are other people. Like, we might have our advice that is to get them to a certain place, but they may choose to ignore our voice because they chose a different destination. And that doesn't make them bad or wrong. And it doesn't make our advice bad or wrong. It just means we're relationshiping as human beings that maybe have different styles, ends, means, etc. So I
And
love
we
that.
don't always know.
Right.
I love that. The GPS was right. It just didn't have all the information.
Yep. I don't know all the ways that metaphor plays out, but I just want to bring us back to where we started, which is what I know is if GPS did the shame, blame, guilt, treat you differently because you missed some turns in the past and predicted that therefore you will mess up the new route and started giving you different advice based on that, it would be a very confusing world and not many of us would use GPS.
Or we'd crash a lot. We wouldn't be safe. We wouldn't be successful drivers because the anxiety and fear of missing out on the right directions would hold us back from we'd go into the tunnel vision. We wouldn't have peripheral vision. We'd miss things and we'd crash and it wouldn't be safe. And I feel like kids who are in that anxiety loop of fear of needing to do the right thing, they do crash. Because they can't have all the information. They're so hyper focused on trying to figure out what the right thing to do is. I want to tell a story of my son. He comes home and he tells me I was sent to the principal's office today, and so I'm just like, cool, thanks for sharing. Anybody share what you want, don't share with you. It's all cool. And he's like, I think it was the right thing. I think it was the right thing. So I'm like, oh, tell me more. So he's like, well, my teacher basically said like, you either need to sit in your seat or go to the principal's office. And I just couldn't sit at that moment. So I realized, it's probably the best thing to just go to the principal's office. I'm so proud of that.
I love that.
And I love it. Because he's not being disrespectful to the teacher. And in his mind, it is the GPS for like, he's making sense. He's taking the facts. He's taking the structure that's built for him in the school system. And he's assessing the situation and knows what's going on inside. And it's not even appropriate right now for him to take over the entire lesson and be like, well, teacher, I can't sit in my class. He's in my chair. He's not going to fight with the teacher. He's a really respectful kid. So he's like, okay, so either sit or go to the principal's office. Okay, I'll go to the principal's office. That's what works best for me right now. I totally understand. I'll have to miss out on some learning. I'll make it up later, whatever it is. I have my physical limitations. I can't sit right now. Just like so much trust and self awareness and agency and just beauty in that. And I think that's what it ends up being, is like trusting when somebody does the wrong thing or what I as the GPS think is the wrong thing, like trusting that they're smart, trusting that they know what they're doing, trusting that they know themselves, trusting that there's something that makes sense here that I maybe don't have all the information for. It pauses my trigger, it pauses my activation, it allows for curiosity. And in the end, it allows for so much awe and true respect, because people are smart and do have reasons and do have things that we don't even know about them. And it's just fantastic to hear it. I mean, the story someone shared with me of a kid who was coloring with permanent marker on the mother's vase, and she was able to stay present and calm enough to be curious. And the kid was like, I know it's your favorite vase and it's just clear. It doesn't have any colors on it. And I know you love it so much, so I wanted to make it more beautiful. And like, what's the reaction? Like, yes, it's not okay to color on the vase, and we need to teach that. And at the same time, that intention, that purity, that sweetness, that he was making a surprise for his mommy, like the curiosity that enables us to learn where that turn came from like saves, it guards so much.
I know we want to end. I just want to add to your story, because if we are open and curious, the reality is for most parents who are listening to your son in that situation, if we're being really honest at a heart level, we're going to think, man, there were some times I should have gone to the principal's office. I just didn't want to sit there. I wish I was that brave. And if we get out of the moralizing, like, but now you're not going to get a grade and you missed the class and all that nonsense, if we can actually be open, we'll realize there's probably something that we could learn, and we'll be like, man, that's an interesting way to go through life. I wish I had done some of that. Maybe not all of it, but again, it's just open and curiosity instead of strict and blame. It's so much more alive. There's so much more fun there and joy there, which is where the real learning happens anyways. So I wanted to say.
And I guess I want to speak to something too. One more thing for me too is I'm recognizing the fear that there are real life consequences because systems aren't modeled in this way, where I know a kid who was not accepted to high school because his elementary report card indicated many, many lates. And I know the situation, and I know that his coming late shouldn't be part of the equation of whether or not he should go to that high school. And I know that that high school is missing out on him, honestly. But for a parent to feel like, but if my kid goes to the principal's office and then that's the reputation he gets, then he's the kid who's at the principal's office, and then he's not going to be accepted to this, and he's not going to be accepted to that. And then long term, for especially a religious community like ours, where dating is through a system where there's references and research being done, and it's like, oh, this is the kid that was at the principal's office, when meanwhile is the indication of my child's absolute greatness and absolute confidence. And I'm so amazed by him. And I just want to speak to those of you who are with us right now, to myself, to you, Freddie, to all of us in this together. We are holding hands, and we are being the difference in the world, because something in real life I wouldn't even hold your hand, but on Zoom I can. And there's something there. Someone's got to make the change, right? There's always the firsts, and in us, we are. I'm gonna just honor myself for being so brave in not even considering, not allowing systems and what's been and what might happen to like be in the equation of standing with integrity and aligned with what I want for the world. This is what I want for the world, and I can only do me, and I can only do what I can do, and so that's what I'm doing. And, the schools that come along with me and the other educators, I'm so grateful that God has given me platforms and given me the ability to reach in places that transformation can happen bigger than what I can do, But we are brave. We are so brave, and you are so brave, whoever's listening to this, to resist the fear around what this might do to allow our children to be the kid who comes in late and makes their own choices and looks different and sounds different and acts different. We're in this together. That's what I want to say.
Well said.
All right. Till next time, you guys. This was awesome. Freddie, tell us, how can we reach you? I want this in every episode. How can we reach you if we want more from Freddie?
You could find me on any of the social medias, usually under my name, Freddy Mendoza, or you could email me at mefamilia2@msn.
Thank you very much. All right. Hey, wait, don't go yet. Take a minute to find the beautiful quality that you have, that you appreciate about yourself.